YouTube, modeling that back at you with another build update. So this is part one of the 1992 Mercury Cougar Lowrider video. So yeah, got quite a bit kind of done up here. So I've got the front bumper, rear bumpers on, got the door panels or the door lines all kind of scribed out. Went ahead and also kind of scribed up underneath the door handle a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit more depth, and so it actually looks like it's a an extra handle. It's not just molded in or molded on top of the car itself. So yeah, I got that all done. Obviously got the side mirrors on and ready to go so that those can be painted. The one thing I do want to note, if you get this kit, check out the underside. Most likely you're going to have a pretty nasty sink mark on the on them that you'll need to fill. So interior wise, there is some ejector pin marks here in the corners, as you know it is with most kits. Given the fact that I'm going to look to try to flock or possibly flock the top here, I'm not going to worry too much about that. I am going to try to tape off where the actual windshield and rear window will go. So one thing that I did have to contend with on this was a couple of scratch marks that were in the glass just from it kicking around on the shelf for a couple of for at least a decade here. So used a couple of different products, so Flurry Models polishing sponge, and then the one that actually I liked better is just their green sanding sponge here. This just more or less will fog and get rid of the scratch marks, where the top part of this will actually scratch the surface a little bit. So this one's just a little bit nicer, and even with the blue, it didn't leach off or anything like that, obviously. So also use just a little bit of Scratch X just to try to, as a polishing compound, just to try to get it back to as clear of a luster as I possibly could get it. So outside of that, got the engine built up here, as you can see. So got that all built. Gonna try to actually do something a little bit different with this one. You might notice this is a little bit of an extra shiny part that actually came off the chrome tree, which was looked through and stripped down with purple power. So got those kind of ready to go. I think what I'm going to do on these parts here, I'm going to go through and probably try to flatten these off just a little bit. I'm going to try a different process for chroming some parts and things like that, but again, you'll see that as we go. Got the two seats together, again using Plastruct bonding just for the seam, or for the glue to hold it together, and then utilizing, again, not a plug for them, I'm not sponsored or anything like that, but the Flurry Models sander and polisher here is a bit of a foam on the back. Absolutely love this thing. So use the coarser side just to kind of get it mostly filtered down, and actually you can't really see any marks whatsoever. So thinking about how I'm going to actually do this one, because I do want to kind of have a two-tone look to it. So I'm just kind of trying to think about how, what I want to be green, what I want to be white, and things like that. So outside of that, the one thing that I have to admit was not a fan of when I found this out is the fitment of the underside of the car here. It is extremely tight, and so it kind of stinks, because again, the only way to build it correctly to get the gaps filled for the front and rear bumpers is to put them in like I have here. But if you do that, when you go to fit it, it's pretty tight. So what I found was just carefully twisting it, even with the interior in place. It'll allow it to get around things like the front radiator. That can actually be put on like that, so that's not even a problem to have in place. before you go through and do it and stuff like that. But yeah, just to kind of call it out, or something to think about. If you're wondering, that is an extremely tight fit to get it in. However, once it's in, it is nice and locked in place. So the last thing went through and kind of got ready to go here is the rims. I've got all 4 glued together. The knockoffs here in the center, took a look at the kit parts and compared them to what came with the Peagsus kit hobbies set, and to be honest, the kit part looked a whole lot better. So even though it's a different color of gold, the rims being more of a red gold, these being more of a white gold or whitish yellow gold, I actually like that kind of two-tone effect. So, and again, the detail is actually a lot nicer, so went ahead and did that. What I'll probably do in a couple of the areas where you can really see it is I'll put a little bit of Molotov pin, not a Molotov pin in there to get it to be chrome silver, and then just a light little wash of clear yellow from Tamiya just to get rid of that black. But yeah, like I said, got all 4 of those ready to go. Did a little bit of test fitting with these here, which is going to be the wheel backs. So they do slide in nicely. Probably will have to end up and trim these back, trim these down on the back side. So I have to kind of see how that goes. Once I kind of get the main part of the body together, or the under subframe, whatever you want to call it, chassis. There we go. Right word. Once I get that ready to go, just to see how much of this I need to knock off. I just need to cut it flush with the back of the tire, whatever the case may be. But outside of that, it's just, like I said, getting some parts off, cleaned up, ready to go to paint. Again, trying to think of how, the process for this, how it is to actually get it painted up and things like that. So yeah, so far looking really nice, looking really good, coming together nicely. Nothing really, been fighting other than, like I said, just trying to make sure that I can get this together once I do have that chassis fully completed and painted, and things like that. So hopefully by the next build update, we'll be getting some paint and some flocking on, and that way you guys can see it starting to really come together. So if you have any questions, comments, definitely post them down below. And until next time, I will see you later. Peace.